Fantastic. Hi, everyone. Good evening. How are we all doing? I hope you got the right link. I hope you're trying and planning to join us. I'm just hoping that we'll have the privilege of having a really, really good session today. I thought it's a bank holiday. Most of the guys will be busy with family, doing different things. I thought it would still be a good idea to get going with things. Good night. Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about winning in uncertainty. And I hope if you haven't had time, please watch it. But last week we talked about mastering uncertainty, and we went through a few things. We talked about the different aspects of uncertainty. We talked about understanding the fact that uncertainty is part of life. We must get used to it. And the importance of learning and unlearning the things that we know and learning new things, and then asking for help and choosing to try again was the next one. And then we ended up with mastering uncertainty. But today we're going to look at winning in uncertainty. I hope that you'll find some time to join us. We'll be back in the next few seconds. Let's run through the intro. Thank you.
Mastermind for Men is a supportive space where men are encouraged to grow into their best selves. We believe every man has a unique purpose and a gift to share with the world. Our dream is that this community acts as a catalyst, helping us unlock our potential and walk confidently in our purpose. Together, let's foster courage and boldness as we become the men we were born to be, making a positive impact on our families, communities, and living lives of purpose. Welcome to Mastermind for Men. Together we are bigger, better, and stronger. Iron sharpens iron.
Fantastic. So here we are. I hope your day has been good. I hope the family is doing well. I hope you are managing and coping with the amount of uncertainties that's happening. I don't know how it is on your side, but we know that things are changing. The world has actually really changed a lot since January, with the trade wars and with the economic situation in this country as well that we live. And the one that comes with life, as usual, there are so many things that's changing. So I thought after last week's one, that this week we look at winning in uncertainty. As I was saying earlier, last week we walked through mastering uncertainty because we know that this is very, very important for each and every one of us, as it is the way life is now, especially in this era of very, very, very highly accelerated technological change, political change, social changes, and so on and so forth that's happening. It's very important that we master that, because that becomes our way of life, whether we like it or not. So I thought it would be a good thing for us to walk through that topic last week. If you haven't had time to look at it, please take your time to look at it. Take your time to look at it, and it'll be good to hear some feedback as well on what you think about it. And if you find time, please try and join us. Let's have a conversation, because this was never meant to be a place or a platform where someone comes out and teaches about something. It's not bad to teach, but because we know that the combined brain power of all of us is what's going to bring the excitement, is what's going to help us to stay motivated in whatever it is that we're looking to achieve. So without wasting further time, I want us to talk about this topic today, which I've called winning in uncertainty. Winning in uncertainty. And last week we covered mastering uncertainty, understanding what it is, understanding what we need to do, and how it shows itself, and what we need to do to continue to be alive, to continue to move forward in our lives in the midst of all this uncertainty. So today I just thought let's talk about winning in uncertainty. Last week we said something about uncertainty being a way of life, being how things are, how we see life. And if you don't want to live in uncertainty, you might as well not be alive at all. So how do we win in the midst of uncertainty? How do we win in the midst of uncertainty? One of the things that children are taught when they are little is how to swim. And one of the reasons why children are taught that is so that they have that skill in case they find themselves in a situation where they are about to sink, or they find themselves where they're in water. That will help them to stay alive if they find that out. So I thought, what a fantastic example for us when we talk about winning in uncertainty. If we have agreed from last week's session that uncertainty is something that we live in, so we must learn to swim. We must learn to get comfortable with it. Because, when you think of surprises, these are things that you're not expecting to happen, and they happen. But if we understand that uncertainties are things that we will always live with, then it's very important that we then learn to swim. It's just like someone who lives in a riverine area. You have got to learn to swim. You don't have a choice. That is the same thing for all of us. If we're going to live this life the way it is right now, we must master uncertainty. We must make sure that we're able to swim when uncertainty comes. And that swimming may just be being able to just be alive, just, tread the water as they teach children. Sometimes it's not about swimming forward or swimming sideways or knowing all the swimming styles. Sometimes all it requires is just for us to stay afloat, stay afloat, stay afloat. I don't know about you, but for me, it's really difficult. When you look at life, when you wake up every morning, you're looking to make a difference. You're looking to move from point A to point B. But when all you have to do is to make sure that you remain alive in point A, it becomes really, really difficult for us to do that for ourselves. But sometimes that's all we need to do, because it's all about not pushing ourselves in a certain direction, because if it's in uncertainty, that means there's a likelihood that we will go in the wrong direction and do the wrong thing and swim in the wrong direction, or use our energy to go in the wrong direction. And then when we now need to use that energy, what happens is we have lost it going in the wrong direction. And that's why I thought, if we're going to win in uncertainty, I think it's a very good thing to understand that we need to also learn to tread water, stay where we are, but stay afloat. I know that one of the things that you're asking is how do you do that? Sometimes doing nothing is a good strategy. Just understanding that in this moment, in this time, it's uncertain. But I'm just going to stay here until I know exactly what to do, until I know what the next steps are. For some of us who are Christians, one of the things we could do is to start praying, is to spend time looking at the Word of God, and to just spend time in meditation, thinking about where we are. Maybe that will bring us to the next step I've thought about today, which is on gratitude. Because it's very easy to be surprised by things, by these uncertainties, and we think, oh, this is not where I should have been now. I should have been there. I should have been on the other place. But then when you think about where you are, it's very important that you don't just look at the stagnation that you're confronting, or the uncertainty that you're confronting right now, that you think about what could have gone wrong, where maybe some of the people that you have grown up with, where some of them are. Maybe some of them are not even halfway to where you are, the things that you've achieved in your life. But if you're going to look at it, you might look at it based on the uncertainty that you're facing. Maybe you've gone backwards. Maybe you've lost your job. Maybe you lost a business opportunity. Maybe things are not moving in the direction that you want it to move. And you start to regret, and you think, oh, what's going on? This life is not what it's supposed to be for us. I'm just very frustrated now. But if you can think about these things and just meditate on the things that has happened in your life and the fact that being alive in itself, it's enough. Sometimes it's very easy to just think about what we don't have, but some people are begging to just stay alive, just to sit down and just enjoy the views of what the Lord is doing on the earth, or what the Lord has already done on the earth. So I think it's very, very important that we spend some time in gratitude, spend some time in prayers, spend some time in appreciating whatever it is that we have acquired, whatever progress that we have managed to get. The next thing I want us to think about tonight is, if you want to win in uncertainty, it's very important that you become a learner. And again, like me, certain things are very boring because you look at it and you think, oh, I need to start from the scratch again. That's very inconveniencing. How can I start from the scratch again? But guess what? Whether you learn or you don't learn, it does not matter to the uncertainty that's happening. So we don't really have a choice. The earlier you started to learn, the better for you, the better for me. And that's the only way out, because whatever it is that you have known all these years will be invalidated by the new knowledge. And if you do not pursue new knowledge, you're going to struggle. And you really don't want to find yourself there, do you? That's why it's very important to make out time to learn. Sometimes you find it boring, but the best time, according to the Chinese, to plant a tree was yesterday. The next best time is today. So what is it that you're looking to achieve? What is it that you're discouraged to start learning now because you think, oh, it's going to take me forever to learn it? If you start now, you're not going to be that person that's going to take forever to learn what you need to learn. It's very important that you understand that. And the more you wait, the less you know, the more impossible it becomes for you to even know what's going on, to even have a chance to fight, to walk against, or to make progress towards the uncertainties that you're facing. And by the way, as we move forward in life, the uncertainties don't remain the same. They change. So if we're going to decide to stay with the same knowledge we have, then we're putting ourselves at a greater disadvantage, because if I am 1% ignorant today and I forget to cover that gap, tomorrow is going to become 2 or 10%. And think about it. When you just think about the next 10 months, if you don't do anything, what's going to happen? Where will you find yourself? Where will I find myself? That's why it's very, 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 very crucial that we do not stay stagnant, stay where we are, and not plan to learn, because the more you stop yourself from learning, the more you put yourself at a disadvantage from having a chance of succeeding, from having a chance of surviving the uncertainties, because some of the uncertainties are not going to even be there and play with you. They're going to come in to really shake you up. And if you're not going to try and plan to learn, then it will be really difficult for you to live this life. The next thing I want to talk about tonight is on not allowing overwhelm to happen to you, taking it one day at a time, one day at a time. We're humans. I know that we want to think about what's going to happen tomorrow, what we need to do next week, what are we doing the next month, what are we doing the next 6 months. But what that does for us, especially when you are in the midst of uncertainty, is to bring frustration. And that's why if you're a Christian, the Lord's Prayer says, give us this day our daily bread. We need to think about today. How do we get through today? Because sometimes when you think about how we get through the rest of the week, how we get through the rest of the month, how we get through the rest of the year, it introduces an unbelievable amount of overwhelm. And that shuts down our creativity, that brings in fears, that increases anxiety, which might cause illness. And once that kicks in, we have zero chance of winning in these uncertainties that we face today. So it's very important. It's very important that we take it one day at a time. You get to the end of the day, you show your gratitude to God who made it possible for you to come to the end of the day, and then you start planning for the next day. I know that we need to have goals, we need to have dreams, have those, but look at your life in the midst of uncertainties. Look at your life about today. Look at your life about what you need to do today, and you plan for tomorrow, making sure that you're putting in effort to make progress. And if we are going to do that, then we run away from the overwhelm that could cause us illness and anxiety, and even deepen our situation, make it more difficult for us to win in uncertainty. And the final one I wanted to touch on tonight is connect. 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 It's very important that we don't go through our uncertainties on our own. The scripture says that there is nothing that's happened under the sun that's not happened before. That means there are people in your network who would have had that experience, who you can speak to. Even if they don't have the solution, they can at least encourage you. They can at least be a sounding board for you. They can at least be a listening ear to you, so that you can you will have that encouragement you need to continue to make the progress that you need to make. Because if you leave yourself alone, if you're going to stay in that uncertainty alone, then it's going to be a struggle. Most of us will not survive it. So it's very important that we make time to connect to people who have seen this, people who have had the experience, people who have good words, kind words for us that will help us to win in the midst of these uncertainties. So that's the last one tonight, but it'd be good to recap. We started from talking about how you win in uncertainties, to win in uncertainties. And the first one we talked about is learning to swim. Learning to swim. We cannot avoid uncertainties. It's something that will always happen in our lives. It's a style, it's a way of life. And the only way for us to survive it or to win in uncertainties is to learn to swim. And I talked about the importance of even learning to tread water. Sometimes it's not about making progress in a certain direction. Sometimes it's just about us speaking to ourselves and saying, let me just stay alive. Let me just stay. I want to tread water, because I'm better off treading water than going in the wrong direction. When it's time to fight, I will not have time. I will not have the energy to swim in the right direction. Take time to think, to meditate, find out where you are. What can you do? Don't just start doing, but tread water. Learn to swim. Sometimes it's all about just staying alive. And I talked about the next one on gratitude. Spend some time being grateful about where you are. It's very easy for us to be carried away with where we think that we should be. And we forget the importance of being grateful for where we are right now. It's very important that we do that. It's part of the ways that we can win in uncertainty. And when you show your gratitude about where we are, especially thanking God for life, thanking God for the opportunity to even play in this game called life, and for the things that you have. Most times what it does is it inspires you, it pushes you forward to do the next thing. And I talked about focusing on learning. You cannot win in uncertainty if you're going to be adamant that the things that you know are capable of seeing you through. No. You've got to commit yourself to learning new things, so that as you progress in that uncertainty, the old ones, the new ones don't meet you with the old knowledge. And I talked about the boring thing of starting to learn afresh. For most of us, it's very easy to think, oh, this is where I am. How am I going to get through this? What's going to happen if I'm going to keep talking about this? What's learning about this? What if something else comes out tomorrow? No, you've got to go in and learn. Oh, it's a new thing again. How many things am I going to learn? My friends, you have better you better accept the fact that you have got to learn. You've got to learn. You don't have a choice, because uncertainties will come. They don't care about where you are. But if you prepare based on the things that you're learning, you're going to be in a better position to tackle these uncertainties. And then I talked about taking it one day at a time. And I talked about the importance of taking it one day at a time, because we really don't want to think about situations that will make us become overwhelmed. Because we're talking about uncertainty here. If you start thinking that way, you are facing an uncertainty, you're thinking of the uncertainties of tomorrow, you're thinking of uncertainties of the next month and the rest of the year. All that's going to do is to increase your anxiety and destroy your health. And therefore, all opportunities for you to even have a chance to win. So it's left for us. It's a choice that we have to make, to take things one day at a time, because we are built to be able to withstand what's going to happen today. We face the battles of today, and we pray for a better tomorrow. And we prepare ourselves by what we do, by the things that we learn. And finally, I talked about connecting. If we can connect with others who have similar experience, even if they don't have similar experience, we have people that we can speak to so that they can give us words of encouragement. The people we go to get advice from, it doesn't mean that they've done all these things before. It just means that they are able to offer us some insights. So they're able to offer us some words of encouragement to help us, to guide us in the journey of winning in uncertainty. And that way ideas will start coming, because when we get that encouragement, when we understand that we work in a group like we have in this mastermind, and we talk about iron sharpening iron. If we stay on our own, we stay blunt. But if we are going to gather together and join resources together, we're going to sharpen each other. It doesn't mean that the knowledge is in-house, but the encouragement is in-house to guide us to go through whatever it is that we're going through in our lives. But like I said, it is a choice. It is a choice for us to either learn how to deal with uncertainty, or we stay and not learn. But the sure thing that must happen to all of us is that uncertainties will come. They will show up every day. It's just sometimes we're just looking at the very big ones. But every day we get faced with uncertainty. How do you win in these situations? It's got to be top of our agenda. It's got to be top of the things that we think and talk about. We must understand how to tread water. We must understand how to swim in these uncertainties. We must understand how to show gratitude. We must understand how to take it one day at a time and learn, continue to learn new things, so that we'll be ready to face whatever it is that's going to come before us in the next day, in the next week, in the next month, in the next year. And finally, we must learn to connect. Connect not because we know, or the person that we're connecting to knows the solution to our problem, but connect because we can get encouraged. We can get some tips on how to survive certain stages. Maybe other people have done that, but even if they haven't done that, it just keeps you sane, because you think you have this group of cheerleaders, this group of men and women in your life who are going to continue to cheer you on and encourage you and tell you to keep going, despite whatever it is that you're going through. I hope that this has helped. I haven't seen anybody else joining tonight, but it'll be good for us to join so that we can continue to sharpen each other. Like I said, it's not meant to be, a lecture session. It's meant to be a place that we gather together, we share ideas, we encourage each other and get better, not just to share knowledge from one person. But I hope that this has helped you tonight. If you have any comments, put it below. If you don't mind, please, next week, join us. We're going to be here waiting for you to join, waiting to learn from you, waiting to gain insights from your own life's experiences, so that we can continue to win in the midst of all our uncertainties. I hope you have a great rest of the week. I hope that you win in whatever uncertainties that will come your way this week. I hope that you will stand tall at the end of it. And we'll join you in giving thanks for what the Lord has done in your life. Until the next one, guys, stay blessed and keep working on yourself and on those skills that you need to win in the midst of uncertainties. God bless you. I'll speak to you again soon. All the best. Bye-bye.